From what I've heard from people who are way smarter than me in the ZK area, a lot of the math is done, and so now it's time to actually start building out some of this stuff and making it work.
User experience.
So,
Welcome to the Alpha Podcast, made possible by West Coast Customs and NVRLand Studios, hosted by me, Jussup. Before we begin, I want to remind everybody that what you're about to hear is not financial advice, nor do we endorse any of the guests or projects on the show. This is simply meant for educational purposes, and oftentimes I'm learning about these projects in real time as we're recording them. While this is brought to you by West Coast Customs and NVRLand Studios, the opinions expressed are of my own or the guests, and not of the companies. So without further ado, let's tap into the episode.
So my name is Jake Hemmerle. I'm a Substrate developer, software developer at Astar Network. We are building a smart contract hub in the Polkadot space. We have WASM-based and EVM smart contracts, fully support them both.
You said a WASM?
WASM, yes.
Yeah, what is that?
Sure, so WASM is a WebAssembly. It's a virtual ISA, and an ISA is, think of it like it's the stuff that processors run. So it's a type of bytecode. So if you're familiar with EVM-based smart contracts and things like that, EVM or rather Solidity contracts compile to EVM bytecode, and WASM is an alternative bytecode for different types of smart contracts.
You said WASM and
EVM.
EVM.
So the network supports it's a modular blockchain, or Substrate's an amazing framework you can build modular blockchains with. And so we have two execution layers. One is EVM based, so you can run all of your EVM Solidity based smart contracts just as you would on Ethereum or BSC. And we also support WASM based smart contracts. So you can write in Ink. There's another framework called Ask, which is TypeScript like. So if you're a Web2 dev familiar with TypeScript, you can basically write WASM smart contracts just given a little bit of blockchain knowledge.
Interesting.
Which is pretty cool, yeah. So it's easy to write in multiple types of languages and then compile to WASM and be able to use the smart contracts on the platform.
I guess with that ease, does that make it easier for like people who are in the Web2 space then to come over into this?
Definitely, yeah. So that was, to me, that was one of the biggest things that stands out with Astar because, or specifically with WASM contracts rather, because there's a lot of overhead to learn Solidity. It's a very low-level language. You need to be very efficient with how you write things, and so the language is designed that way. Ink is a framework or language that Parity has built. Specifically, it's a DSL of Rust, so you need to learn Rust, which is it has a high learning overhead, we'll say, and so it's a high barrier to entry for kind of both of those. And so something like Ask allows you to write in TypeScript, which a lot of Web2 devs are familiar with. If you're doing React or Node things, many things are built with TypeScript. Just, you get some basic blockchain knowledge, how it kind of works, and you can build smart contracts.
What's your background? How did you get into this?
Sure. So in 2019, I was in San Francisco for an internship doing Web2 stuff. And one of my coworkers introduced me to IPFS, and my random roommate was working on an Ethereum smart contract startup. They're doing identity or something like that. And so he introduced me to smart contracts, and so I started reading about that, and then Bitcoin, and just down the Web3 rabbit hole we went. It was super cool, all the peer-to-peer things, all the cryptography and the math. It was so fascinating. And to me, it just seemed like this entirely new paradigm of technology, and I was just super fascinated and wanted to get into it.
Cool. I've been asking everybody this though.
Yeah.
Do you collect NFTs?
I don't. No.
So
I know how they work, obviously, as a developer, but I haven't gotten into any communities and really taken a look into NFTs and really kind of know what, you've got the blue chips like, Bored Ape and CryptoPunks and stuff. And so to me, I'm like, okay, that's an investment I would make. But I don't really understand like the dynamics and the kind of communities that go, like why would you buy an NFT?
Right.
And I don't know how to ask those kind of questions yet. So I haven't really gotten into it.
Do you guys have NFTs that run on your chain?
You can run NFTs, sure. So we have an assets palette Substrate supports modules, okay? So One of the modules is EVM, for example, and you plug the EVM module in and you can run EVM-based smart contracts.
What does the EVM stand for?
Ethereum Virtual Machine.
Okay.
So that's like Solidity smart contracts, anything you deploy on Ethereum, or maybe Binance Smart Chain, or any of these other Polygon, for example.
Okay.
You can also deploy those on a substrate-based chain like ours. Yeah, if you have some Solidity smart contracts, you can deploy or make NFTs on our chain in EVM. You can also make NFTs in the WASM environment. And at an even lower level than that, you can actually make the NFTs right on Substrate using, I believe it's the assets palette. There's a palette in there specifically for fungible and non-fungible tokens to mint and burn and transfer and have fun with all those.
Yeah, cool. Do you guys have things that run on like NFT projects that are on your platform?
We do. We have Astar Degens. I know we've got Astar Ghost. That's a game. We're launching, I believe it's called Astar Launchpad or Astar Base, or it's an NFT project that is starting internally. I believe Mario's kind of owning that. Mario is a developer here at Astar.
Cool.
And I know he's super excited about that. He's got an art background, and so he's ready to get that going.
Yeah,
he's very excited.
So you said that you guys do have games on the... Cool.
Yeah, Astar Ghost is one of the games I know of. I just bought one of their NFTs, actually. That's kind of one of the first NFTs I bought. I do have some, but I'm not like NFT DJ.
Yeah, I get it.
I don't want to throw myself in that category yet and act like I know what I'm talking about, right?
You don't want to set yourself up for any hard questions.
Right, exactly.
What do you see the future of this space going? I guess, what are you most excited about?
I'm excited to see the types of applications that roll out that are zero knowledge related. Privacy and scalability are two major things that we need at scale, at widespread adoption. From what I've heard from people who are way smarter than me in the ZK area, a lot of the math is done, and so now it's time to actually start building out some of this stuff and making it work.
User experience.
So, the user experience. Yeah. Exactly. That's when I think we're going to start having this technology impact everyday people.
What do you think are ways that we can actually bring those people on? I guess you said zero knowledge. I guess what I'm hearing from that is like that people are going to be utilizing this technology without even knowing they're using it.
Totally. I think that's how this has to go. Grandma and grandpa aren't going to put any money in crypto. They don't know how your 24-word wallet works. They don't want to be responsible for having all of their money to potentially be lost. And I guess, I'd be the same way. Like, if I had my entire life savings, I wouldn't want that to be, all the way down to having that. I wouldn't want that cold hard cash. I want that somewhere safe like a bank, right?
Yeah.
I think in order to get that kind of adoption, we need to replace the current financial infrastructure with these sorts of decentralized systems. And I think that'll come naturally as this starts to solve real inefficiencies and people start to trust the technology as it continues to be tested. We're moving away from the crypto is so cool phase to the it's starting to mature. And obviously, crypto is still cool, right? But we've got things like DAO infrastructure and these other types of applications that are going to start impacting the lives of people that aren't just, DJs in the space working, right? And that to me is going to be the coolest part.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's less, scary it feels. The more we'll see people come on. Where can people find more about Astar?
Yeah, Astar. Yeah.
Astar.
Oh, I call it A-Star, Astar, Aster. You get all kinds of funny names and stuff. Yeah.
Astar. Where can people find out more about Astar and
sure.
some of the things that are built on it?
Yeah, so we have a Twitter. We post a lot of stuff on our Twitter. We have a Discord where we post announcements and things like that.
How big is your team?
Our team is, I want to say, about 25 people now. 2025.
Cool.
All
around the world?
All around the world. I'm one of two people in the U.S. We have 4 guys in Croatia, Germany, all over. Tokyo, Singapore. It's really amazing to work with such a multinational team. I hate getting stuck with the 7 a.m. meetings being in the U.S. and the only dev team member in the U.S., but, we work with it. And
I think that's one of the coolest things to see in this space. There's a lot of teams literally around the world.
There's so many cultures. I grew up in the rural U.S. I grew up in Indiana. And, just cornfields and all kinds of stuff around, and to be introduced to all of these different cultures, especially in this space. Everybody's so open and sharing and confidently themselves, or like people just being themselves. Like, you can relax and you can just be yourself and ask questions and be open, and it's such a beautiful experience.
Awesome, man. Is there anywhere that people can follow you personally?
Yeah, Jake Hemmerle, JakeHemmerle on Twitter, Discord, Instagram, pretty much that's my name.
Same thing?
Everywhere, yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me and asking some amazing questions.